You've already created an instance of your own class and have seen how static methods work. In this lesson, you'll learn about best practice when working with classes. To begin, open the Shining Stone sample file from your Sample Files folder. And open the code behind file of by.aspx if it isn't open already. The Shining Stone project has a link data class that allows it to communicate with its database. You'll learn how to use the link data class in Lesson 10.3. For the moment, it's a good class to use to practice creating and disposing of instances of classes. Add the following code to the button submit order click event handler. Shining Stone data context data equals new Shining Stone data context. This code creates a new instance of the Shining Stone data context class called data. Now add the following code on the next line. Data.submit changes. This method won't actually do anything at this stage. It's just an example of a method that you might call from the data object. Next, you're going to dispose of the data instance. Many classes have a method called dispose. The dispose method is used to clear the class from memory. Some classes don't have dispose methods. This is usually because they don't have any properties that stay in memory. A link data class like the Shining Stone data context class can load a lot of data into memory, so it is good practice to dispose of it as soon as it is no longer needed. Add the following code on the next line. Data.dispose. This code will remove the data object from memory. If you were to try to work with the data object after this line, you would cause an exception. C# has a garbage collector that automatically disposes of objects that are no longer in scope. In this case, for example, the C# garbage collector would dispose of the data instance after button submit order click was finished, since it wouldn't be usable anymore. Despite this, it's always best to dispose of instances manually when you can, since the garbage collector doesn't always clean up memory immediately. As well as disposing of instances using the dispose method, you can also use a using statement to automatically dispose of an instance. Note that working with using statements inside your code is completely different to the using statements at the top of the page. Remove all code from the button submit order click event handler and replace it with the following. Using Shining Stone data context data equals new Shining Stone data context data.submit changes. This code does exactly the same thing as calling the dispose method, but is much easier to understand and work with. The using statement creates the data instance and then automatically disposes of it after its ending curly bracket. It is generally best to use using statements wherever possible, as it eliminates the possibility of forgetting to dispose of an object. Close Visual Studio now, saving your changes if prompted. You've now completed Lesson 6.10. Create and dispose of instances.